Welcome to the Adulting Podcast. I'm Zach Peter, a naturally platinum blonde podcaster, author, and sassy self-improvement addict spewing all those burning questions you're too afraid to ask.
And I'm Abigail Fraher, an unfiltered boss babe, daylighting as a lifestyle guru, stirring the pot on social issues. We're here to help you look cute,
Live well,
work hard,
and stay woke.
Together,
let's conquer adulting. Welcome back to Adulting, everybody. I'm Zach Peter.
And I'm Abigail Fraher.
How you doing, boo?
I'm good. It's nice to be back in the California sunshine.
Back in sunny California?
Yeah, my mood shifted in like 24 hours. It was crazy with the amount of sun that I'm getting here versus in New York. I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to be happy.
This is what it's like to get some vitamin D.
I know.
Well,
it's been a minute. I've missed you.
I've missed you too. We have so much to update everybody on.
So much going on, yes.
Well, hopefully today we can help, get us some different kind of vitamin D this year.
That's right, please. The best kind, the preferred kind.
Exactly. The kind we really need right now.
Right?
So today's guest is a conscious dating relationship coach, and I'm hoping that she can help me out because all I seem to be good at is consciously uncoupling. She's an intimacy enthusiast focused on helping soulful, kick-ass women get the love they want, and there's no getting past her bullshit detector. So Abigail and I are going to be put in her hot seat today. Please welcome Melanie Hersch.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you.
Yay. I just love diving into these topics. You're hilarious. Yes. Vitamin D. Yes.
We're going to dive into these topics the way I'm dying to dive into bed with somebody these days.
We need like a...
Has it been rough? Has it been rough, Zach?
Listen, okay, well, it hasn't, I'm not gonna lie. I've just been spreading my seed these past, I'm in the grieving process. It's been a rough 2021 and it's only getting started. So at this point, I'm just being a free bird and I'm dating and I'm having fun, but I have so many questions that I have to ask you about, what's the healthy way to do this? Mentally, emotionally, physically, I like to push the boundaries. No, I'm just kidding. But before we dive into the conversation, we have to have you espresso yourself, Melanie. We have to have you espresso yourself. Are you ready, Melanie?
I'm ready.
Perfect. So I'm going to start and you're going to finish the sentence for me.
Oh.
Yes. So the first one is I can't start my day without.
Snuggling with my dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
Charlie is a little Maltipoo. I got him in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, you did? So you got a pandemic dog. I feel like so many people I know got dogs and it's the best. There were, and shelters too. There were shelters didn't have dogs in them because everyone was adopting. It's insane.
That was what happened. I couldn't find one. So I got one from a breeder where one was returned and I drove to Arizona and schlepped over there. But so worth it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I have a little Shih Tzu and he's in New York right now.
You do?
I miss him terribly. But that's the best. Zach, still we're waiting on him to get a dog.
In time.
Zach dates dogs. He doesn't need a dog.
Right. You're already dealing with it.
Got quite a few in the rotation.
Right? And then the next one is when I work out, and it's a little bit different now with COVID. I know in New York gyms are back open, but here they're not yet. There's a lot of outdoor spaces. Are you doing any of that? What are you doing to get your blood flowing besides having sex?
I have an elliptical machine in my place. So I watch my Netflix shows and get my elliptical in, and then walking the dog is the second form of exercise at the end of the day. So
it's forcing you outside. You're all right.
It really does. And there's those times when you just don't want to, right? You're just,
yes,
brutal, but so good for us. Yeah.
So the fresh air is great. And then the next one is I feel sexiest when
I feel sexiest when I'm relaxed.
That's
after an orgasm?
That.
Yeah. I think, if I'm in my head and I'm spinning and I'm juggling things, there's no sexy feeling going on. But if I'm relaxed and embodied, or, when I pop a little edible or something, that can help with the sexiness. But yeah, just that relaxed vibe is, yeah, it's everything.
That's a good one. And I feel like you make better decisions in like a relaxed vibe, and people.
After you pop an edible?
I do make good decisions on my edible.
Yeah. No, but it's just like, it's sexy. Like if you're with somebody else too, it's like, it's better to be a little more low key. I like that.
Yeah. Just dropped into yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Zach, do you do edibles?
Not really. Like I'll do like CBD gummies, but I'm more of like a martini person than an edible than a weed person.
Zach likes to drink. Yeah.
What about you, Abigail? Are you an edible or no?
So I used to take edibles like just like socially, and every time I had the worst every time. So I do dosets. I do like the little docet pens, and like I sneak those on the plane back to New York with me.
Are you not allowed to have them on planes? Like, is that contraband?
It is technically, because it's like it's not legal in New York.
That's right.
But it is in Jersey. It's so weird. It's such like a weird thing.
Weird, the laws. Yeah.
It's stupid. But I like little pre-rolls if I'm here. Like I'd rather smoke than do the edible. It just doesn't sit well with me. And
everyone's got their own thing, right? There's the people that love alcohol, the people that are more edible,
Yes. And I'm just a hybrid, I guess. I don't know.
Hybrid, you'll do it all. Yeah, for me, the edible, it drops me into my center, I feel like. For some people, you get anxiety and it just, you're overthinking everything. For me, it just, like colors are brighter. I get
hear
ideas.
That it makes sex better.
What was that?
I hear that it makes sex better.
I find that it does, because I'm just so in my body. I feel like when I have an edible, I want to stretch everything. I'll stretch like my fingers, I just everything to come alive. So I think,
you're making me want to like revisit the edible world.
Yeah, maybe.
And then our last question, or our last sentence is, I feel most like a boss when
I feel most like a boss when I'm just cranking stuff out. When I'm super focused and I'm having those days where I'm just and getting stuff done.
Checking stuff. Are you a list person? Do you check off lists?
Yeah. My problem is I have too many lists. I'm looking at my desk and there's, the lists have lists, but when I'm on one of those days where I'm focused and just knocking the stuff off the list, I feel like a boss then.
It's a very boss-like feeling. I would agree with that.
It's pretty good. I'm hoping today's one of those days. Yeah.
Right.
So, Melanie, we just had Valentine's Day a little while ago. And I feel like if you're like Abigail and I, you had to spend Valentine's Day single. I spent it with a plate of pad thai noodles watching the movie Valentine's Day. Why? Don't give me an "oh." That is not sad. That was a independent, empowered choice that I made for myself.
That was endearing. That was like that's like endearing. That's really cute
that was the you give when you see a puppy with a broken leg trying to make it across the street and there's a car coming and you're like, oh.
Listen, I day drank with my friends. That's what I did on Valentine's Day. All my single friends were like, let's go get some drinks.
So, Melanie, since you are the dating coach that is here to help us kind of make peace with our relationship status, how do we make peace with being single right now and not feeling like it's a sad time to be single post-Valentine's Day? It's still kind of half of the world in quarantine. Like, it's just like a funky time where I know for me, and I've opened up about this, I just lost my grandmother very recently. So for me, it's been hard being single and being home and being like, I just want somebody to hold me at night. You know what I mean? So how do we make peace with being alone? And how do we be okay with that?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And it's so important because it is easy to get into that kind of victim mindset and just the loneliness, it just overtakes you. And so I think for me, the thing that really helps is doing a deep dive on the beliefs you have that keep you feeling alone and separate and hopeless. So, I think that a lot of times there's these unconscious, limiting beliefs or subconscious beliefs that are living, under the surface that really contribute to us feeling like shit. I'm never going to find anyone. Finding the right person is hard, or maybe I'm not enough to find that person, or, everyone leaves me. I can't trust people. All these different thoughts, I think, keep us in that lonely and stuck place. So I always say the first thing to do when you're feeling really crappy is to really gut and like pull up at the root all the beliefs that are contributing to your anxiety or loneliness.
What about people that, Abigail, that are very picky and very selective, and that's why they're single, is because they are a little too, they have very high standards, and you should obviously have high standards because you have self-respect, RESPECT, but where do we find that balance?
Bitch, you've been single for 2 years. Let's get going.
Bitch, I've been single for 27 years.
Yeah, high standards are great. Well, tell me some of the high standards. Like, what do you feel like are the high standards?
Yeah, Zach, what do you feel like my high standards are?
They're your standards.
With you. No, I feel like I'm just, for me, definitely it's somebody who has their shit together in the sense of like, I don't want someone who's like wondering what they want to do with their life. And I know that sounds bad. And I feel like I'm such a strong personality, and like, while some of my shit's not together for the most part, like career oriented wise and like financially, like I have a plan, like I have my shit together. I know where I want to go. So like in the past, I've sometimes dealt with where I'm like caring for people because I love and like I love caring for people, but then it turns into almost like motherly caring. And I'm like, fuck that. Like I want someone, I don't want to caretake. And I want someone to kind of be able where I can put my feet up once in a while and be like, oh,
yeah.
Like I'm so independent. It would be nice to have somebody who's independent, but also can be like, hey, let me do this for you. Or I've got this.
So a supportive person.
Yeah.
To me, these don't sound like high standards. They sound like standards.
Okay.
So then are guys in LA just terrible and they don't know how to like respect a partner?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, if those are her standards and they're not high standards, but she's still single, like how?
Well, there could be a lot of reasons. We could go through what's going on that's creating your singleness. But I know for one thing, when you talk about standards and all of that, is I think a lot of people have this preference list of what they think they want in a partner. And, oh my God, he's going to be, 6'5", and he's going to have a master's degree or business.
I have my settings though. My Hinge settings are like 6'2" and above. And I'm like, well, that's just like simplifying it a little, but
go ahead.
Is that a problem? Because like, my whole philosophy in the sense of like, if I kind of have like some type of pool, if it's a smaller pool, obviously you're going to get less options, but maybe the one will be in those options.
Right. But I think what happens is we close ourselves off to potential love when we set those parameters, or we set the settings too small. So for instance, I get like you like tall guys and I do too. I get it. However, I think my guess is that what you really want is to be super attracted to the person you're with and to feel like they're, masculine, or, you feel like a woman around them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the 6'2" setting kind of, that's your way of sort of going, okay, I'll be attracted to him and he'll feel manly. But I think it's more about how you feel around someone more than their height. So I get that maybe a super short guy wouldn't do it for you, but there's like a range, and how you never know. There could be a guy and he's 5'9" or 5'10", and he feels really big and he's confident and he's got his shit together, and you are just lit up. And I don't want you to
miss that.
What if he's there? He could be right there and you're missing him because of that setting. So I think it's important to make sure that, the settings you have, that you're not really going by preferences, but more about like, what are my must-haves? Like, what do I know I need to have to be happy? And what you need is that, you need that chemistry, you need that passion, you need to feel that desire. But does he need to be 6'2"?
No, I guess not.
And I have women will say to me, oh, well, he has to have gone to graduate school and have this degree, that degree. And I always say, does he really need that for your happiness? Right. Or do you just want a guy who has his shit together, who's highly intelligent and driven and kicking ass out there? So it's good to ask yourself these questions.
Take inventory. Yeah.
When we're done, I'm going to go switch my settings. I'll just be like, all right, 5'9" and
5'4".
We'll give a little more.
And the thing is that you can have a guy who's 5'9", and one guy can feel energetically smaller.
Sure.
And then another guy can just have a fully different energy that's really sexy to you. So you just never know. To me, it's energy.
Okay. And I agree with that. Cause like, I'm not one of those people like, oh, they have to have brown hair and blue eyes and da 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 da. Like, I don't have a type in that sense. I was just like, it might be nice to climb up somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. I totally hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, Melanie, I took a big 3-month break from like no dating, no sex, nothing. I was like on a total dick detox. And then coming into this year, I was like, okay, I think I might be ready for it. And then I ended up going through a situation where my grandmother was really sick and she was in the hospital and I had to go stay with my grandfather and take care of him. And then that's where I was at the point where I was like, okay, maybe I should start dating and get on dating apps to keep me distracted. Not because I'm looking for anything serious, but because I need a distraction. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking weed, I wasn't doing anything. So I was just like dead sober. I needed something to be bad. And so I was like, boys will be a great addiction to focus on right now. And then so in that, I started talking to a few guys. There's even one that I went on a really great date with recently who's really, really sweet. I don't know if I'm physically, sexually all that into him. I have to say he's better in person than he is in his photos. But for me, I just feel like it's also still so fresh to be in the grieving process that I don't know if it's a healthy time for me to necessarily be dating. Is it a healthy time for me to come straight off of a detox from dating and then to kind of jump right back into it in this place where I'm a little more emotionally vulnerable?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If you're dating to avoid, then I would say you might want to check yourself. And, because it's like you're wanting to make yourself feel better and distract yourself, which I totally get that when you're grieving. Who wants to feel that? Right. But it doesn't really take away all that grief. And I think the quickest way through that is just to allow it in and be still and let it come in and do what it needs to do. And then when you've gone through that and you feel, okay, I feel ready. And it's not coming from a place of, fill me up. Right. Then I think that's a healthier place to date from. But I mean, saying that, I'll say there's no right and wrong.
Right.
But definitely, think about it. If someone is out there and they're just dating to fill kind of a space within them of loneliness or sadness, they're not, it's not like pure, the connection that's coming out of that in a certain level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And if anything, I kind of feel like right now, like I'm learning how to be like, there's a big chunk of my life that's just now missing, and it's altered my life and who I am right now. So I feel like even when it comes to dating, like going on that last date, I felt like I got to just be myself without any because I was just like, if I don't like this guy, I can be like, my grandma just died, like I don't have time for this. I can easily peace out and I can just show up like I couldn't show up and pretend to be somebody because I'm going through this weird emotional twist myself. Yeah. I just showed up and was myself and was honest and, was honest about, what I was going through because we started talking around the time that she was in the hospital. And so it kind of just allowed it to be a little more free. But then there's this part of me that's a little afraid. I'm like, but wait, what if something does come of this? And do I really want this? And he's not Abigail 6'2" metric that like, I don't know if
Yeah. And I think, the truth, it's interesting what you said about how I'm in this place and I could just show up and be really authentic. Do you feel like you're not that way?
That's what I was going to say. I wanted to start doing so why do you normally feel like why?
No, do you need depth to do that? No. Yeah, like what's happening?
I think that there's a common thing that happens, especially in Los Angeles, where when you show up on dates, you have to be your best version of yourself and you have to you have to like play up like this fake personality that that you have because you're trying to impress the other person and you're trying to win them over instead of like actually realizing if you even like the other person. And I've learned to break that. I have learned to break that. I will say I've worked on that and I've learned to break that. But I think the hard part is I feel this pressure when I go on dates where people will see my Instagram or they'll watch the show and then they think that I'm just going to be this bigger than life personality. And sometimes I'm just like, and Abigail knows, like when it's not in this setting where I have to be on camera.
You turn on.
Yeah, like I'm a little more. I'm a little more introverted, and reserved, I'm not. I'm a lot more reserved. That I do feel that pressure going on dates sometimes.
It's so interesting, and I think a lot of people. I always tell people not to investigate, not to do all the research on your dates ahead of time, because that's that thing is that we pedestal people. Someone will see you or hear you and go, "Oh, he's this personality," and then they show up on the date and, you know, you feel this pressure to be that. But I think, you know, if you have a certain level of emotional intelligence and you know that people have different personas and there's different, you know, who you are here isn't who you are always. The time, So I think, when we let go of this expectation or this pressure we feel that we have to show up a certain way and we just are ourselves, I think it's so much more attractive. It feels a hell of a lot better. And it's way more attractive to just own yourself and be like, I'm so freaking tired right now, or whatever you need to be. That's way sexier than pony dancing.
I agree.
To get someone to like us, right? I mean,
Are you a fan of like non-committed sort of like casual relationships, like a fuck buddy or like a booty call, sort of regular friends with benefits? Is that a healthy place to be when you're dating, is to have like one of those, be like, at least I'm getting my sexual needs met, that when my emotional needs are going out when it comes to dating, like, is that healthy?
Yeah.
I was going to say, is it healthy to even do that? Or like, if your end goal is a relationship, like, is it cool to like take that side road and just have fuck buddies for a while, or does that put us backwards?
I think it's different. There's so many different takes on this. And I think, you know, where I go with it is, I mean, if there's someone in your life and you're having fun and it's clear what it is, you know, we're just friends, we're just fuck buddies, whatever. I think that it can be great. You know, you're able to be sexual, you're able to express yourself in that way. It kind of lights you up. So you're walking around vibrant. So that can be healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're pining away secretly at that person and thinking, oh,
don't you always think there's one of the two people like ends up getting attached?
Yeah. It's so easy for someone to get attached because all your emotions, orgasm and all that stuff. So if you're secretly pining for the other person and hoping they'll change their mind, or you're avoiding something by going to them, or you're with them all the time, so you're not really putting yourself out there as fully because you just want to spend your time with them, then it's getting in your way. So it just depends where you're at with that. It can be a really healthy, fun thing.
I have a couple of neighbors that I think are really hot, and I've been trying to have a threesome with them, and I want to be like friends with benefits with them, but they've already nixed that idea. But
why? Because you're neighbors?
It was. I mean, that's really what it was. We're neighbors. We live in the same building. It's a little too close to home. If something goes bad, it's awkward in the elevator, like that sort of deal. But I'm just like, we can have so much fun, and it's so convenient.
Right.
I know, but that neighbor thing can get complicated.
That's true. That's true. And I've watched way too many movies where like one of them gets attached. Like one of them's going to like you, Zach, and then it's going to ruin their relationship.
See, I already have it all worked out. I already know which one's going to fall in love with me, and then they're going to leave each other. And like, I already know how it's going to work out in my head. And that's why I'm gunning for it now. And I've already convinced myself that the one that has rejected me for being neighbors, it's because he secretly knows he's going to fall in love with me. So that's why he's just not jumping into this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm glad you figured it out. Yeah.
Still curious why I'm single. So what happens when we fall in love with our fuck buddies though? Like, how do we set those boundaries, or how do we, like, what if the sex is so good and you're just like, well, I don't want to give up the D?
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, if you know that you're in love with this person and they're clear that they're not interested in that with you, it's by staying, you're just setting yourself up
hurting yourself, right?
Heartbreak.
Like, it's like you're continually like, okay,
It's like you're cutting.
Stabbing. Yeah, you're cutting.
It's you're like a cutting. Let me just do this again. And maybe it'll take my pain away for a second. But yeah, it's not easy to pull yourself away from great sex and from someone you have a lot of chemistry with. But in the long run, you have to think. There was a quote from a movie. I forget what movie, but she said, I can either hurt now or I can hurt later.
Right.
And even though we want to oftentimes hurt later, sometimes it's just smarter to let's just hurt now. Let's just
move through. More when you delay it.
Go ahead.
It hurts more when you delay it because then you just get more of a
you know it's there more times and you know it's going to keep happening. And like I have a few friends that have had that situation and it's like, aren't you tired of being upset about it every week?
Yeah, like when it's draining your energy. Yeah.
The only time it's positive is when it's on their time and they're getting what they want. So you're still not getting what you want. But also on the same token, I do have friends who started out, a bunch of friends, especially in New York, who started out just like hooking up and now they're like together, which leads me to like, that's such a weird in between, whether it's with someone you meet on a dating site or whether it's someone that you've just been casually sleeping with, like how nowadays it's like, oh, there's dating, we're seeing each other, we're exclusive, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how does that work?
I think it's different. Everyone is in a different place. Everyone wants different things. So I think to me, it's just about being really honest and clear with people with where you're at. Open
communication.
And what you're wanting. Like if you're out there and you just want a fuck buddy, then just tell them. Say like that. Don't hide it and just be you so you can find the people that are the right fit for you. And there's so many different ways of engaging with people. So it's just about being honest with where you're at.
Yeah. So Zach, just be like, listen, I'm trying to mask my pain. I just want to hit it and quit it.
Yeah.
Neighbor.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you are just, if you're not in the place, if you're not
being upfront with yourself, basically.
Yeah. If you're not willing to face what's happening and you want that, cookie or whatever, the sex, and then just be honest about it.
Yeah. Be honest, set the boundaries, and then, what
comes up for you there? Because I see that pause and what comes up for you with that?
I think I just am in a place where I feel like for so long, I always knew exactly what I wanted. And now I'm just kind of in a place where I feel so unhinged. And it's like, I don't know what I would. Do I want to be in a relationship? Do I want to date? Do I just want to have sex? And I think it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about it. It's like you need to take inventory of what's going on inside first and ask yourself those questions. And I don't think I've asked myself those questions in a minute.
Well, this is great. I'm glad you get to explore this right now and look at it some more. Yeah. And just putting out what you're wanting with people. I mean, and that's the best thing anyway. When you're upfront, then there's no misunderstandings. If your feelings change, you communicate. It's healthy.
Okay, but here's the issue. When you're upfront and you're clear with what you want, it tends to scare people off or you become intimidated.
Okay, no, because you're going back to like last year / before COVID. Zach would go on a date and he would be like, so like, I want 2 kids, like a first date. And like, I'm like, that scares people, Zach.
I was just being honest with what I wanted. I was listening to Melanie.
He's like, I'm getting a spring wedding.
I don't think there's anything. I mean, I think being clear, maybe if you're coming on and you're saying, okay, let's have 2 kids and then maybe it's too much.
Okay. I wasn't that specific, but I was very clear that I wanted kids.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that the right person for you, the person that wants kids and who's excited about that in the way that you are, they're going to love that you say that. For them, it's going to be a ding, 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 ding. Woohoo,
that's what I told you. It's just most people aren't like that. A lot of people don't even know, I feel like, if they want kids.
Yeah. And if there's people that don't want them and they're clear and that scares them off, let them be scared off. They're not the right people for you because you're looking for someone that wants to have kids.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that I don't think that honesty can hurt you. I think it can only help you. Yes, it will cause people to go away, but it will cause the wrong people for you to go away. Yeah.
Yep. And it'll attract the right people.
On that token, like kind of different side of things, like I feel like I'm like I said, clearly this has nothing to do with my preferences, but like, I'm so comfortable being single that like, I will go weeks, months. It's been months sometimes since I've been like on a dating app because I just like don't care, but I do want kids and I like want to have like I don't know about marriage. I'm kind of the one that I'd rather just wake up every day and choose that person than like do that whole thing. But like, that's what I want. I do want a committed long-term relationship, but also I'm like, ew, why'd you type like that? Done. Bye. Like, it's not worth it for me because I'm just so comfortable in my routine. Like, how do you get through that or work out of that? Like, is there something I could be doing? Like, do I need to set like goals or like force myself? Like, I don't know.
There's different, I have different feelings about this too, because I think on one level, it's really beautiful when you're in a place where you feel complete and you don't even desire going on the apps. You're just feeling good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, and on some level,
I feel like that should be a good thing, but it makes me feel like there's something wrong with me because my friends are like, you're still not going out on dates. And I'm like, what
will happen is at some point,
and
I don't know when, at some point you're going to go, you know, I think I'm ready to get out there again. Like I desire this. It'll come up naturally, a feeling of desire. And that's when you follow it. It's like when you genuinely want to, not from because I think we have this should, I should, but I also believe in trusting timing and just honoring where you are. Right now, it sounds like you're in a great place. So I would say enjoy it. And at some point you're going to be like, okay, it's time. And you know, and then the other side of that is sometimes it can be helpful. Well, first of all, do you have any negative beliefs about dating or getting out there and the whole process, or do you feel
no, I really don't. No, not really. Good. Like, I do think all men cheat. Like as a whole,
I do not have limiting beliefs, but men cheat. Yes,
but all men cheat.
But I actually, I think honestly, it's not even just on men. I think that I think I'm so comfortable with myself and I'm so comfortable with like relationships being varying. Like my whole thing is just like, if I trust somebody and like even long-term down the road and you're like bored, like, let's talk about it. Let's figure out like a solution. I'm not like a psycho where I'm like, oh, they're never going to look at another woman because they're with me. Like, situation. I don't know. And I don't know if that's also an issue that I'm just like, so
what?
Open to whatever.
I think it's great. I love your openness. And I think that's actually really healthy. You know, you're doing it your way. And there's some things that are important to you and there's some things that aren't important to you. And I think that openness is great. I think you're going to just, at some point, you're going to desire getting on there again. And until then, I would let go of any shoulds or any, you're supposed to do this. Have fun, enjoy this time. Because when you meet the right person, you know.
Is that true too? Like, do you think that for everybody, it's, you know, when you've met the right person, like it's like an instantaneous thing, or is that just like movies? Because I don't know, because clearly I haven't done it. I haven't felt it.
I'm not going to say the love at first. I don't necessarily, I mean, sometimes you can have that instant, yes, this is the person. And I think that sometimes it grows and you can, you know, meet someone and there's some little spark, you know, there's something there and they're not really your type, but I keep wanting to see them. And then all of a sudden love grows from that. So I think it's different for, you know, different people, but I think that generally when it is the right person for you, when it's a great fit, everything in you is just, will say yes. You know, it feels like a big yes. You're excited. There's not a lot of clench inside of you and fear. It feels exciting and you want to keep seeing them. And
But what
sounds beautiful.
But what about if you have like other blocks that you haven't worked through yet, so that when you meet them and you kind of feel that you have that hesitancy because you have the mind fuck of talking yourself out of it?
You're screwed. No, I think, and that's why I say, I mean, literally the work I do with my clients is gutting anything that's in you that could block you from bringing in a really great partner. And there's so many layers there, old hurts, old resentments, hooks in with exes where you can't let them go, limiting beliefs, poor communication styles. There's so many layers to work with. And I think that if you haven't moved those things through, then you're showing up to dating from a place that it's like you are going to get in your own way.
Yeah.
And so the more work you can do while you're single and clear that stuff within you that could potentially block you, then when you show up, you're relaxed, you can be clear with your boundaries, and you really, I think you kind of magnetize in the right people when you're in a really good place.
Okay. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
So my friends don't suck it. I'm not going to be feeling bad.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You just own where you're at and enjoy it. It sounds great.
I love it. Actually, now that you have, helped us kind of remove through some of those blocks, I just manifested the perfect man.
I am dead.
My God. Is that chocolate?
I just want to eat him up.
He is the perfect man, premium, solid, decorated milk chocolate. He's sweet and decadently rich. Oh, he's very rich. Just how a man.
And he doesn't
ought to
talk
be.
back.
He doesn't talk back. He's not so great in bed, though, I'll be honest.
But he's great in your mouth. Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you, Melanie. So we'd like to close out every show with our biggest takeaways from the conversation. Abigail, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Because you always put me on the spot and I'm used to it now. So I'm like, now I know through it. I'm like, ooh, note that for later. So I think my biggest takeaways are, I guess the overall concept is like, it's okay to be where you're at. And like, it's okay to feel whatever the way you feel is validated, whether it means you're not dating or whether it means you're just fucking whoever you want when you want to. And then I think secondly, it's just being self-aware of maybe why you're doing things. So maybe before you act, think about, why am I doing this? Or is there something else that's causing me to behave this way? And then lastly, I think just like trusting in timing and in yourself is like the best thing you can do.
Yeah. I love that.
I love it. I think my biggest takeaways are, and they're a little similar to yours, is to take inventory of where you're at, what you're going through, and what you're looking for. Just like keep checking in with yourself, which I think is a lesson we put out, like when it comes to like health and wellness, is like, are you really hungry right now? Or do you just need a glass of water? Are you tired? Or, do you need to just go for a walk to clear your head for a minute? And we don't do that with our emotions. We don't do that when it comes to dating and relationships. And I think we need to take more inventory of that. I think the next one is always be authentic on dates, even after they've stalked you.
Even if you want 3 kids tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. Even if they've stalked you on Instagram and know your great grandmother's maiden name, just still be authentic and be you. And then the last one I think is also like what you said: have fun, enjoy the ride, and edibles make great sex.
Yes, I forgot about that one.
I love it. Well said.
Are there any others, Melanie, that you wanted to touch on, or that we touched on that you really want to hit home with anybody listening or watching right now?
I think you've covered it. I think the main things I tend to focus on are being authentic, and that I think that to be really authentic, you have to make sure that you've cleared out any of the beliefs that are driving your car and kind of ruling you. But authenticity and trusting timing. I think those are the keys.
Not keeping it all on your own timeline, because life doesn't always work according to your timeline.
Yeah, and being more open. We're talking about preferences and must-haves.
Oh yes, I'm going to switch that when we're done.
Yeah, I'm so excited, and because who knows? What if there's So being open in terms of having standards, but also not making them so strict that you rule out potential love. So, that's what I got for you.
I love it. Well, where can people go to learn more about your courses? If they want like a one-on-one coaching with you, if they want to manifest the perfect man, where can they go to keep up with you, Melanie?
Where can they find me? They can find me. My website is goodatyou.com, and I'm on Instagram under Melanie Hersch, and Facebook, Good at You is the business page. So yeah, find me there. And yeah, I love this conversation. I can talk about this stuff forever with you guys.
It's your career. You've made a career out of it. I love it. Thank you so much for setting us straight too. I think on the correct road to continue into February.
So by next Valentine's Day, we should definitely all not be single anymore.
Yeah, let's check in a year.
With kids.
Exactly, unless you are not wanting to date. Yeah.
By next Valentine's Day, I hope to be pregnant and barefoot.
I love it. I see it for you. I see it for you, Zach.
Gonna manifest it right now.
Yes.
Thank you guys for listening. You can give me a follow at Just Plain Zach.
And you can follow me at Abigail _AF.
Don't forget to follow at The Adulting Podcast. Go to theadultingpodcast.com where you can find episodes up there, and all the places that we're available are linked there as well. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Roku. If you have a Roku device, make sure you're subscribed to The Adulting Podcast so you can watch it on your TV and make us feel like real TV hosts, even though we're taping from our apartments with ring lights and laptops and all DIY cords. All right, guys, until next time, we'll be...
#adulting.